Yeah. No, that's why I said this is self-plagiarism. Because it's literally my Toxapex Great League Halloween Cup line, except in Ultra League. No one runs Kofa or Kafa. Kafa's just really good. Hey everyone, like I mentioned in my last video, this is gonna be a good one. I'm about to show you all the Ultra League Halloween Cup team I've been using, and I've climbed to the highest elo I've been all season, which is over 3300s, and the amount of my patrons that have hit legend or hit all-time elo records with this team this season so far is I've lost count. It's been so many people. One of my patrons even said that this team should literally be illegal given how good it is. And I had a theory that this team might be good back when I made my last Halloween Cup video. I mentioned it in the end of the video too, teasing Tentacruel a little bit, and really my thought process was, what if I run my Great League Halloween Cup team, the one that got me to Legend, and I run the same exact Pokemon except I replaced the Toxapex with a Tentacruel. So I decided to give it a shot, and I did not have enough XLs or Stardust to actually make this Tentacruel all the way. So the majority of the time I used this team, it was actually under leveled and it still performed crazy well. So the team I'm using is a Tentacruel with a Shadow Scizor and a Cofagrigus. Here's the best part, if you enjoyed using my Halloween Cup for Great League, a lot of these matchups in Ultra League are pretty much the same. So I think for a lot of my subscribers and patrons, and myself included, it was actually very easy to run this team because I didn't really have to learn anything. I pretty much played out a lot of matchups the same way. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups, or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. Going to his first matchup here, Giratina is something you don't really see in Great League, but you do see in Ultra League, and you just kind of play it out just like you know, the dark types or ghost types. You just swap straight away to that Scizor. And as you can see here, I'm building up to what might be an Iron Head to potentially force a shield, and we did grab a shield, which is nice. Now I'm just going to throw the X's just for some chip damage. We got a shield down, which is really nice for me, and this matchup is really solid even without Sludge Wave. Just look how much damage you just do with the Poison Jabs. You wall off all the movesets, and I have that Blizzard, so this is going to be really good because you can force a second shield and really put him in a tough spot. And now we are in a really solid positioning here because you just throw the Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw down, and throw another Shadow Ball at the Giratina. Here's the best part too in this meta. Most Giratinas are running Dragon Breath, which makes it a much better matchup for the Cofagrigus, a better matchup for Scizor, and it doesn't really change the Tentacruel matchup much, but it just makes Cofagrigus actually a really reliable counter to Giratina in most situations. You also have a hard-hitting Shadow Ball, so Shield Sound is quite nice. So I'll show another Giratina lead here and just kind of show you all how to play it out, and even if you have a different counter swap. So Escavalier, kind of a core breaker, beating both the Scizor and the Tentacruel. So what I'm going to do instead is just farm down with Cofagrigus. I'm going to show my third Pokemon, but that's okay because I have a lot of plays still, especially up a shield, and here comes in a Tapu Fini. So I am going to throw the Shadow Balls at the Tapu Fini, and part of me is thinking, you know, because I still have a shield, I might as well just stay in and see what happens. And then they actually swap to their Giratina, and then actually go for a Psychic for a chance for debuff. It's kind of risky. Honestly, I should have just thrown a Shadow Ball because a Blizzard at this range would KO anyway, even if it wasn't debuffed. So don't do what I did there if you're in that situation. Just play it safe. It's not really worth the risk of a debuff. And of course, my opponent actually has the ability to catch as well. So I'm really just anticipating them catching here. They come in with the Tapu Fini, so even if I debuff, it won't have mattered. And then now I throw the Blizzard and take out the Giratina. So, you know, even if you don't win lead here, it's actually quite nice. I honestly prefer when I don't win lead because it's easier to play. What? Oh my goodness. All right. So, the Umbreon matchup. Maybe you should just sit up. I'll help you out. So, just like Great League, you want to stay in against the dark types. Some of these are running Psychic, so you do have to watch out for that a little bit. And then my opponent here actually swaps their own Tentacruel, and so we're in a pretty good spot. I'm going to swap right away here because I have the Scizor for the Umbreon as well, so I'm not super worried there. And I'm going to go for the Psychic here, and they might finish me off. Yeah, so I'm going to shield here. I'm going to shield. I'm going to farm quite a bit of energy here. I might pivot out. I think that might be my play here. Save the Cofagrigus in case they have like Escavalier in the back. So that's exactly what I do. Because our timers are pretty much up, I decided to come in and just catch the foul play and either grab a shield here or take out the Umbreon. And we end up taking out the Umbreon and don't get off another Scald, unfortunately. But I have a Psychic ready, so I'm going to do what I can here and hopefully force them to throw some energy. And then they do throw a Poison Fang. Not enough to knock me out, that's fine. Then now I come in with the Scizor. They throw another Poison Fang right away, and I know shield. And at this point, I know I could definitely win this matchup and just go straight Night Slash there. All right, one of the hardest leads in the game. It's a Hex Jellicent. It completely walls off the Tentacruel. And it's got a lot of play against the Cofagrigus. Could bait you with Bubble Beam. I find that pretty much none of them throw Shadow Ball. So, you know what? If they want to try to Shadow Ball me, they can. I believe Shadow Scizor should still be able to just barely hang on there. But I just find that it's such a risky situation to shield there. Probably could have thrown one Exorcer there, so that's a slight misplay on my end. But either way, yeah, we probably could have CMP'd on the Aqua Tail. But I'm going to throw this and hope that they don't have another Dark in the back. Because if so, I just straight up lose. But this is the only Jellicent lead I've actually run into in Ultra League. It's a little bit more rare, I think, in Ultra League because the lack of Azu. And yeah, so we are in an interesting position because this is a charm, a Powder Stone Ninetales. It's good and bad, right? It has hard-hitting Dazzling Gleam in all likelihood, but not much Fast Wind Pressure. I get baited with Weather Balls twice, and here comes likely a hard-hitting Dazzling Gleam. Do we hang on here? Yes, we do. They come in with the Jellicent. We can finish this off and to finish off the little Ninetales with Tapu Fini. Or with the, sorry, not Tapu Fini, with the Tentacruel. Yeah, really tough lead. Honestly, it's kind of a 50-50 on if they bait you or not. I find that almost every Jellicent still baits you with shields up. In that situation, if they throw a Shadow Ball, their game's pretty much over at that point. All right, Toxicroak. This is an interesting one. My Tentacruel wasn't even fully powered up, and it still survives a zero shield situation against Toxicroak. I did not expect that, but that's where the bulk of Ultra League really comes in handy. And also, Scald is just a much better move than Brine, which is why I enjoy Tentacruel much more here. Oh my goodness. Alright, a really great catch from my opponent there to catch a Shadow Ball on their Drapion. And then I choose to no shield here, which might have been misplay. So I'm thinking, okay, we should be okay. But I think what I probably should have done is shielded the Scizor there, because Scizor was going to do a little bit more damage, especially with the Bullet Punch and the Exorcers adding up over time, and I would have just been in a better spot. So that was kind of a misplay and a really great catch from my opponent there to win this match. Definitely my match to lose really there, but yeah, really well played. Toxicroak, as you can see, a little bit annoying to lead, but it's still quite winnable, I think, if your opponent doesn't catch it and you play better than I do. All right, my opponent here comes Runirigus. They throw a Sand Tomb and then just dip out. I'm going to shield here, see what we can do here. What I'm going to do is go for CMP on every one of these charge moves and really try to stretch this out a little bit. I have no idea if they're running Aqua Tail or not, so I'm going to throw a little bit earlier, and let's see what happens. They do no shield, and I get a boost too, so that's a huge boost for me. We do get a shield here, and I'm going for another move, and it's going to be a Fortress catching move. That's a good catch from them, but I'm going to come in with my Cofagrigus here. I could tank any move here, so that's not going to be a problem. And then I'm going to farm up to maximum energy here and have something for Cofagrigus. At this point, my Tentacruel could also take out the Runirigus if need be, but my Cofagrigus can clean up the back end here. Alright, Drapion, if you're familiar with my Great League team, you know what to do. You just stay in. Stay in, hopefully no debuffs. For the most part, I sometimes try to CMP here on the crunch to give him a little bit less energy. And we do get debuffed there, which is unfortunate, but we also debuff them, so it kind of evens out. And I get to another Scald, and they shield, so that's pretty good. And I'm going to let this go. Okay, she's not a fan of Drapion. She's out. All right. And then I overfarm a little bit here, which I don't know if it's gonna pay off or not. But they come in with Toxicroak, and then here comes a Frostlass, something I did not expect to see. XL Frostlass could be interesting. Here's a weird thing: if I get baited here, I just lose. With shield baited there, so I decide to no shield Avalanche because I would pretty much charge from priority on the Shadow Ball, as you can see there. So I knew that I had to let one go or just hope they don't throw Shadow Ball right away. And we're able to close it out with a Cofagrigus there. Probably could have played it a little better and just saved the second shield if I just didn't overfarm on the Scizor, but it worked out. All right, Escavalier, also a core breaker. This one is going to be a little bit stronger than the Toxicroak. I think it just hits harder. Well, my opponent is shield here too, so but I'm going to match shields and see what happens. And great catch by them to catch a Scald on their own Tentacruel. So I'm just going to farm up to another Scald and then swap out to my Cofagrigus. It's going to be interesting now. Tentacruel is actually pretty solid. It's not like Toxapex into Cofagrigus. It actually has quite a bit of play because Brian just hits kind of hard. But I do put it in farm down range, which is kind of nice. Our switch timers are kind of misaligned here, which is unfortunate. And they actually look like they might go for a farm down here. So I actually bring in my Scizor here. And I kind of make a mistake here. I probably should shield that Crunch. Crunch does a lot of damage there. And I don't think this Escavalier is close 100. Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, we're in a tough spot here. The catch for the Scald, pretty good stuff from them. But just in general, we're in kind of a pickle. So it was not the best lead for me, but I think it was winnable. Unfortunately, my opponent just played better in the back end. But yeah, so tough one, but like I said, good plays from opponents. Could have been better plays from me. All right, Shadow Scizor. Similarly, you just kind of stay in. You want to chip it down, and if you can land one Scald, you're in a good spot because you give your Scizor quite a bit of advantage there. If they shield us, I typically go for another Scald, but they don't, and we could farm down with our own Shadow Scizor, which gives us a pretty solid positioning here. And they come in with the Tapu Fini, and again, I'm going to fake an Iron Head, see if they shield, and they do shield. And now you could just go straight X-Scissor just because they know that it's unlikely to have X-Scissor and Iron Head. So I'm just keep throwing these and chip it down quite a bit because my Tentacruel is actually kind of low on health at this point. So it might not be the best. We do have one shield down on their end. And here's a weird part. This Tapu Fini could still do quite a bit of damage. So I'm actually going to shield. This seems like a weird decision. But I choose to shield here in case they have a dark Pokemon like Manabuzz in the back end. That's exactly what they have. I'm going to bait with a Scald here. And I'm going to try to get to a Blizzard. I need to get to this Blizzard to make this Cofagrigus have any chance at taking out this Manabuzz. And we get the Blizzard off. A huge Blizzard. And now we have a Cofagrigus that's poised to be able to take out a Manabuzz. But yeah, that's simply not a situation you see often, but with the help of Tentacruel, you can make it work. And yeah, we finish it off there. Tapu Fini, a really good one. Typically speaking, they have Dark Poisons to counter swap. That's exactly what happens here. So I'm going to counter swap their Drapion. You could let the first Crunch go. This is the benefit of Ultra League. A Shadow Drapion Crunch against Shadow Scizor is not enough to KO. It's kind of scary in Great League Halloween Cup, but it's not so bad in Ultra League. I'm just going to try to force them to force all their shields. I know that as long as I match shields, we should be okay. And I'm going to throw a little bit early just in case they have like Aqua Tail here, but I probably could have got one more Bullet Punch off. They look like they might be running Sludge. But either way, we still get a move off here, and we get a nice slash against a Giratina and a boost in the very last second. But yeah, we're in a pretty good spot here. It doesn't really matter what happens here, honestly, because even the Tentacruel can take out at this point, and they're going to concede right there. Incineroar, kind of an interesting one. Something you definitely want to keep away from your Scizor. And here comes a Toxicroak. So I'm going to let this Mud Bomb go and then farm up a little extra. Surprised they actually didn't throw another move, so I'm just going to throw a Psychic. Maybe they want to farm extra energy here. I feel like they already had a move ready, but I could be wrong. I'm going to just throw Shadow Balls. Shadow Balls still kind of chunkier, and they're doing their best to farm me down. But yeah, these Shadow Balls are really starting to add up. And now they come in with a Dragon Breath Giratina too. It's really nice for me because I'm going to resist all this Dragon Breath damage. As expected, most Giratinas are running Dragon Breath. Once in a while you run into a Shadow Claw one, but for the most part, it's going to be Dragon Breath. And that's going to be much better for this backline, both the Scizor and Cofagrigus, like I mentioned before. Alright, opponent is going Ancient Power. I just really want to take this out, and I'm fine, because I know the Incineroar can't really take out my Tentacruel, even with all that energy. And we are going to finish it off right here. Alright, Genesect. Now, this is, pay attention to this one, right? You want to look for the drive color. I wasn't really paying attention, and typically, they're running Chill Drive with Magnum Bomb. You resist both moves. This person was running Technoblast Shock, which is super effective in a bad case scenario, a bad situation for me. I also have a Tapu Fini back, so that would have been really nice to have the Tentacruel healthy for. So if you can't see the drive, you don't spot it, you're unsure, it's not a bad idea to shield. If they're staying in that long and they're throwing, if you think about it, they're throwing all resistant moves, right? It just doesn't make too much sense. I'm going to come in with the Tentacruel here and just let it go at this point. Hope that they're kind of weak. Maybe have another poison in the back. Genesect double poison seems possible, right? But, I mean, in a sense, it is a poison. It's just a poison dark. And yeah, that's a bad one. So I think if I shield that, it could have been okay. But anyway, still able to go 5-0 on my last set and hit 3340 for all-time elo and leaderboard placement for me this season. This team has performed better than my expectations, but yeah, the team's legit, even though it's kind of more of a meme of me self-plagiarizing myself for Great League. I think it was well worth the investment. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.